Welcome to another edition of Pens Down. This is the show that connects with journalists all over the world, anywhere they are. And then we get to understand all that they go through from their entry to the point they have gotten to or they got to before they said goodbye to the crafts. Here, the journalist is not the presenter or reporter. They are the newsmakers. That is what Pens Down is all about. We tell the storytellers' stories on this platform. Today, we are traveling to Nigeria, and I have a colleague that has joined me who will be taking us or giving us a walk through his journalism journey or his journey through his craft. He is a BBC trained broadcast journalist, versatile in voiceover, program presentation, audio editing, and news reportage. And he is renowned for his commanding baritone voice and unwavering professionalism. His full profile will be displayed on the screen while we go on with this conversation. My guest today is Michael Oni. Thanks for joining me today.
It's glad to have you, Stephen. How you doing?
Very well, thank
Stephen?
you.
Oh, great, great.
Right.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Great. First of all, journalism. What brought you into journalism?
Um, my journey into this business and this craft wasn't by accident. It was well planned. Although I didn't go to school to read journalism, uh, I went to school and I read microbiology.
Mm.
Um, I had passion for the craft right from when I was growing up, uh, clinging to my dad's radio, listening to the radio, imagining what a radio station looks like, and also following up and imitating what newscasters do on television stations. So actually got me into this business. And from there, it's been a very wonderful journey.
Mm. How long have you been in this craft?
Well, about 10 years now. I have
Okay.
been on this for over 10 years. I
Mm.
started officially when I was in school,
Okay.
2010 or thereabouts.
Mm.
And since then, it's been it's been interesting. Yeah.
Through this period, the profession has suffered a lot of attrition. So many qualified, trained professionals and colleagues of ours have abandoned the ship. Some have landed in corporate communications, public relations, and any other areas that are willing to take them on. What would you say from where you sit accounts for this high rate of attrition journalism is suffering?
First you need to understand what brought you into the business
Mm.
before you can say you're staying longer in the business.
Mm.
If you're going into this craft for the money, it's a no-no because it won't make you a billionaire or a millionaire. But
Mm.
for those that moved on into another area,
Mm.
which is still journalism, but it's practiced in another angle.
Yeah.
Um, if you check, most of them have achieved their benchmark
Mm.
in the business before moving on, and you even need the experience before moving to another field. For
Mm.
example, they move public relations, which is another arm of mass communication,
Mm.
where they manage the image of a company or manage the image of a person, become a
Mm.
spokesperson. They must have had the background in the journalism world first
Mm.
before moving into that. And that aspect of this craft pays more, you know,
Mm.
and which is one reason I believe we have mass exodus of journalists moving into other fields.
Mm.
It's involves long hours, demanding work, but the salaries in this field are not always commensurate with the effort and the skills required. So most of them tend to find another means. While on the job, some even go ahead uh, to do something else, like an alternative that can pay them, because many journalists struggle with low wages, especially in smaller media outlets during the early stages of their careers, which is not so to say encouraging, because you have demands from family, you have demands from colleagues, you have demands from peer pressure too comes in. And the joy of everyone is to go to school and come out of school, get a good fat paying job, but that is not what is applicable to this craft. Then another thing is job security. The media industry is undergoing a significant change due to the digital disruption. You have the social media coming in. Everyone is now a journalist on their own. If you have the phone and you have data and something is happening, next thing you go on your social media and you start reporting with little or no skill. And this is killing the industry. Traditional print newspapers have declined. I don't know how it is in your country, but in Nigeria, they have low sales, and it has led
the
to
same
some
here.
loss. Yeah, and insecurity too among journalists. So we've witnessed layoffs, downsizing, budget cuts, which have created an unstable work environment, and many persons tend to find their way into another field, although they still have the passion. And of course, this job is emotionally taxing, like when covering traumatic events and also working under high pressure newsrooms, and the constant pressure also to produce stories quickly. There is a competition, especially in the newsroom. When news breaks, you want to uh, push out the story before your competition in the market. The 4/7 news cycle can lead to burnout and impacting journalists' mental their physical health, which is another factor. Uh, for example, if you're working on a story or if you're working in the newsroom, you will understand that you have to be on top of the situation. For us broadcast journalists, you have to keep checking the particular story. If a story is developing, you must follow it till the end. So for some, it is due to editorial independence, owners' interests. Some journalists feel that their editorial freedom is compromised by the ownership and the editorial direction of their media organization. So they tend to just leave the job instead of moving to another organization. So these are the things I believe they are factors contributing to a lot of our colleagues leaving the field. For some of us, we have the passion, no matter the challenge we're facing, and no matter how enormous the challenges we're facing, we've decided to stay put here to ensure that we deliver the best and stick to the ethics of the job.
But does journalism pay? Does it pay? I know I am looking for trouble.
It depends on what you mean by pay. It depends on
I'm
what
talking about pay. You work in an office, pay is something, an expectation at the end of the month. Remuneration, reward, salary.
Let us face the fact here. It doesn't pay.
Okay.
And it says a lot about why you're in the business. If you're in the business because of the money, it's a no. I wouldn't advise you. If you want to make money, please go to tech, advance, do coding, become a software engineer, go into the medical world. There are other areas where you can get big fat pay, but not in journalism. It doesn't pay. It doesn't pay. For those that have worked the ladder, even if you're working in a big organization, international organization like the BBC, the CNN, what you get is the fame, but the pay is not there. The fat pay now is not there, but you get the fame. The fame will open doors, but the pay will limit your progress. The pay will open doors, but the fame rather will open doors, but the fame will open doors. The pay will limit your progress. So you need a very good organization as your backbone. So it doesn't pay. What we do, the salaries in this field is not always commensurate with the effort and the skills that are required. But the passion is the driving force.
You mentioned social media. How has it disrupted or redefined the course of journalism?
Okay, let's cast our mind back to the 90s, when you have to do everything in an analog way. You have to go out, write your story, give it to the editor. Editor will check, rule out some parts, tell you to rewrite a part, go back, you write it. And for me, in the broadcast industry, we use tapes back in the day. The old cassettes, and you have to rewind and you have to save analog and everything, but everything is now digital. It means we have an event. Now, let us do a comparison with what you get on social media. Today, we're in the world of social media where it is pay as you go, if I can use that word.
That's right.
Before the journalist leaves his or her office, the news is already in the global space.
Yes.
So if you are too slow to catch up with the news will catch up with you. And as a journalist, you have to be a step ahead of your competitors.
Yes.
So it has helped because when something is happening, it helps to do like a follow-up. When something happens, you do your research on social media and you do a follow-up. But it is now a gateway to some unethical practices because we have a lot of untrained journalists. Everybody believes he or she is a journalist if you have a phone and data that you're going on social media and spreading news without verifying. There are ethics guiding us. Right here in Nigeria, we have the Nigeria Broadcasting Commission, rather, the NBC, which is in charge of regulating what we do. For us, national peace is at the back of our mind in any story that we're following. For a story that is going to disrupt the peace of the country or the peace of the region, peace of the community, we are technically equipped and well trained to manage such in a way that there won't be a backlash. But for those operating on social media without any skill, they don't care because they do it for followership.
Yeah.
They do it for
eyeballs and clickbait.
For eyeballs, yeah. They call it groups and they do it for the so when they do it, their headlines will make you want to click on their story because the more you click on their stories, the more they get paid. So they don't care about the repercussion, but we know that there is always the backlash, either from the government or from people. So social media is here to stay. But the thing is, we need to incorporate it into the business. There should be regulation. When there is regulation, we will be able to remove the we'll borrow the word nonsense that we are seeing, which is also a challenge into the craft, to journalism.
Now, a quick one, still on social media. It has created richer bloggers in Africa than richer journalists. We are the people trained to manipulate the platforms of mass communication for the good and for the advancement of the job we do. How did we miss out on the windfall that social media brought, such that scarcely trained people in the use of mass communication gadgets seem to be smiling to the bank while we wallow in our penury?
You mean how Africa missed out? If
I mean, journalists in Africa.
Journalists in Africa.
Yes.
Now, although we are already changing and we've improved in that area, but number one is broadband penetration.
Okay.
We didn't have it. It's difficult for you to maintain your organization and keep it running.
Yeah.
In the face of bad economy, bedeviling most of the African countries, and you're struggling with your media, putting your organization running. You have to buy diesel, you have to pay the staff, you still have to generate revenue, pay taxes, and keep your business running for most of the media organizations. And yet you're having internet coming into the business. You're having internet as one of the necessities. It was difficult for media owners to accept that they need internet, to accept that they need that broadband penetration. Although they now agree that it is compulsory. It was difficult because the way the media was built it's not the way it is today. So that we didn't accept the change. We accepted the change late. We're suffering for accepting the change late. For the guys that accepted early, they were untrained. Now, on the part of the government did not accept it too, because there is no regulation. Now they are now forcing the regulation on the masses. That's the reason we have resentment about it. People speaking out and saying that the government is a bit repressive when they want to put the laws in place. These laws should have been there before now. And when the laws are there, you can now do reformation. You can go through the laws again and refine it and make it stronger. But for most African countries, they don't even have a law in place to sanitize social media space or to sanitize what is in the global space. So it was difficult for the media owners, that's the entrepreneurs. It was difficult for the government to accept the change. Now they are accepting the change, but it is late, or it is not too late. We can correct it. They are trying, but we need to do more.
If we are to go back, if we are to go back into time 15 years, are you still going to choose journalism?
Over and over again. Because the passion is what is driving me over and over again. The money is not there. I rose up to the ladder within 10, 11 years. I'm the special manager of a radio station right here in Nigeria. It wasn't funny. It was not easy. But I pick this craft over and over again. I read microbiology in school, and right now here I am still doing journalism. So I will do it over and over again, but not to the expectation of my immediate family member. They are not happy that I'm in this field after spending so much money studying microbiology in the medical field. But at the end of the day, job satisfaction is very key.
How many more years do you want to go before you walk away from those cameras and microphones?
This is a very technical one. I don't know. I don't know what the future says. I don't know what the future says, but
Yeah.
I may end up like some of our colleagues
Mm,
that are now public relations business.
mm,
I'm seeing myself in that area. Uh, I still have a couple of years. I may end up uh,
mm,
managing someone's image or an organization's image.
mm. Have you ever been threatened? Has your life ever been threatened in the line of duty?
Very well. Yes.
Share with us,
Okay.
maybe one or two, if there are more.
Okay. Yeah, more.
Mm,
In 2019,
mm,
during the governorship debate of one of the states here,
okay.
that was here in Abia State, I mean Abia State, in
Mm,
eastern part of Nigeria. Uh, I was hosting the governorship debate.
mm,
We had the incumbent governor there. We have
mm,
the members of the opposition, about three, four of them
mm,
seated. And I was the host,
mm,
running the debate, first hour, second hour. It was successful, and they came with their entourage, their representatives, and the hall was filled. But it was live on TV stations and also radio stations in the
mm,
state. Now, I had this direct threat from members of one of the candidates,
mm,
the supporters now of one of the candidates,
mm,
who said that I am biased and pointed
mm.
at me right there. He had security operatives there, right there, that I will kill you. I got scared because that got to me. There were several threats there, but I
And the
knew why I
security
was.
did not act by arresting him or anything?
They didn't even know because the guy disappeared. Well,
Wow.
but disappeared in the crowd.
Mm,
Uh, at some point, it was at the point when the debate became rowdy because of the
mm,
question. Now, when you have the incumbent governor seated and you
mm.
have opposition
Yeah.
candidates, four of them seated,
Mm,
and you ask them any other
mm.
question, you guys want to ask yourself questions. It is definitely expected that the opposition guys will ask the incumbent governor all their questions.
That's right.
And I have the rule. I was following the rules put together by the organizers of that
Mm,
debate, that it is 4 minutes per response.
mm,
I stick to the rule. I said the governor has just 4 minutes to respond. So at the expiration of his 4 minutes, I told him time up. That was when the hall went gaga. Like,
mm,
hey, do you, the incumbent governor, he needs enough time to answer other questions. And it took the security operatives about 15 minutes to calm the hall down.
mm.
But in the middle of the
Melee.
back and forth, melee, that guy appeared from nowhere and pointed at me and said, I will kill you. I was scared.
Wow.
I was scared. I asked myself, Michael, what do you intend to gain after this? Because at the end of the day, I was not even paid well for the job. I just did the job uh, because of the passion I have for the
Mm,
state and the passion I have for the job. After that assignment, the contestants left. I was still with the guys, the technical guys. They were trying to pack their things and to leave. That was when stormed the premises, some of them shooting sporadically, destroying the equipment, destroying cameras, destroying the chairs. I had to scale the fence with my suits that day because
wow.
I was still with my guys, other journalist friends, those in the print that were there. And till now, I do not know the aim of storming that venue after the event.
Mm,
One, it might be because some persons are not happy about the performance of their candidates.
mm,
Two, some group of students wanted to, they put up the same debate, and theirs was not successful. And it was the same day ours was on air, and we also had ours. So they were not happy because theirs was not successful. They said the student union representative, SUGs, they put the debate together to talk to candidates. And we had a meeting with them. Guys, join us. We are journalists because uh, those that organized the one I anchored were not like the consortium of radio stations, television stations, and print media. So it was easy for the candidates to buy into our idea, to tell the people, and also use the medium to tell the people what they intend doing, not some group of students organizing one town hall. At the end of the day, it might be for the money that will come out of it. But we were doing it because we want to hold them accountable, and as members of the fourth estate. At the end of the day, the event was disrupted. The event wasn't disrupted, it went all well, but the venue was scattered, the chaos. In the middle of that chaos, I found my way out of that place, killed the fence, and I disappeared from the scene. That was a close shave.
Wow.
I had. That's one. Two. Uh, this is the second one that is harassment. I was live on air during one of the political shows because I anchor a news and current affairs program apart from working in the newsroom, and it's one of the most followed programs in the state. So my guest was arrested live in the studio with a policeman, uh, and his gun, his rifle. Policemen were outside, but two of them walked into the studio to arrest this guy. He's a member of the opposition. He was a member of the ruling party, even served the ruling party when the ruling party was in government some 4 years before the interview day, and later crossed carpets, moved to another those ruling state at that point. And I felt the guy was repeated a lot. They came up with some charges and said uh, they've been looking for him. He has issues in court. The court already summoned him and he didn't attend. So they decided to come with a longer convoy. Policemen stormed the premises of my radio station and they arrested this guy. I do not have issues with him getting.
When you were live on air,
I have issues with the manner in which they arrested him. Storming a live studio is like desecrating our shrine.
That's right.
For those in the broadcast industry, they will attest to the fact that we put a lot of respect to our live studio. It's like our shrine. So I saw it as desecration of the shrine that day. You bringing a rifle, a loaded rifle, to the live studio to pick a political enemy. It's way out of point. It was led by a top government official in the states, led the policemen, and they walked the guy out. We told them that you cannot arrest the man. I told them you cannot arrest my guest in the premises of the organization. If you want to arrest him, please arrest him as soon as he steps out of the premises, because at that point, his safety
was in your hands. Yes.
But they refused with all the plea. In fact, they threatened to arrest me. My engineer that was in the studio, they dragged him. They dragged the guy by his belt. They wanted to push him out. I was helpless at that point, so I had to leave the faders on. So everyone outside, everyone listening to the show heard what happened. I was like, "What's going on inside that studio?" People started calling. I was so smart enough to leave the microphone on. so that they could hear what was going on, because I saw it as oppression, I saw it as harassment. If you want to pick up somebody, the guy has been walking on the street of the state for months. You guys didn't pick him up, but because you heard him speak on the radio that same day, we chose to pick him up at the radio station. You should have waited for him outside the radio station, not for you to drive into the radio station and pick him. Because at that point, the guest is my property.
Yes.
If you want to arrest him, why don't you write and make it official that you're coming to pick this person? Then I will say, okay, guy, my guest, you are not allowed here because you are wanted or you're a police or something. But they didn't follow the process. So I still have one more example though. If time
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, the third one is another close shave with death. I was a stinger for BBC here in Abia State, and if you're conversant with the stories from Nigeria, you must have observed that we have insecurity bedeviling us in some parts of the country, the northern part of the country, and also the southeastern part of the country. There are some guys known as we gave them the name unknown gunmen because that's
unknown gunmen. Yes. Kidnapping, Boko Haram, banditry, and all that.
Exactly. Which has also been is a subject of controversy though. Who are those behind these heinous killings and kidnappings in the southeast? Some persons are pointing accusation fingers at the agitation in the southeast that they want their own country, while some persons are pointing accusation to criminals hijacking the agitation. But I don't want to delve into that because it is not a subject of topic today.
That's right.
There was a problem in one of the communities, a very remote community, very remote village, where houses were burned. There was a face-off between these men of the underworld and the soldiers. So it led to loss of lives, houses were burned. The story was that a soldier was killed. And you know, when a security operative is killed in a community, maybe active service, we've had cases of revenge. They go back to that village.
Reprisal attacks.
Reprisal attacks to vent their anger on the villagers, and sometimes it is usually on innocent citizens that do not even know what has gone down, what has gone down during the between those non-state actors and the burnt. People became refugees in their own village. In fact, they were camping in one of the schools. So, as a stinger, closest, I was the closest to the village. So BBC said I should there take pictures, write the stories, send down. I went there. If I'm going to a remote village like that, especially a terrain that I'm not familiar, I go with a friend, a journalist friend, that's a colleague. Because of my one, and two, to help me with the terrain. Then I call across to a native. And also reach out to the traditional ruler. All these I followed. I did, because if I didn't follow these things, Michael would have been a dead man today.
Wow.
I all these things because this is what I've learned over time with experience. So I got there, the traditional ruler was taking us around. I was with my camera taking pictures. Then the next thing I looked back, I saw these young guys, teenagers, with AK-47 rifles and also other automatic weapons. They were in 5 cars, 1 Hilux, and they were about to open fire
on you.
on me, my journalist friend, the traditional ruler. Then the traditional ruler told them to stop, that we are not there to harm them. They said there are saboteurs. That was the word they used. Then shortened it to sabo. They spoke their local language. Unfortunately, I did not understand this local language. All I heard was sabo. That was where I got the true picture of what was going on. They thought we were there to expose their activities. It was the traditional ruler that served as the mediator between us. That's my team. We were a team of 3 journalists now here. I was a team lead. That's myself, my colleague, and the native that followed us to understand. The and the guys, those guys, the non-state actors, those guys now warned us that as soon as we leave that place, we should get out and do not come back to their community again. For months, I was traumatized because I could see myself dead. I wanted to take to my heels that day, but it was my colleague standing beside me that said, "Do not run." They would have opened fire.
Yes.
A step that they would have opened fire. That was the closest shave I've had with death in my life because of this job. I was scared to my bone marrow. I was so scared that day. Do you know that these guys trailed us, although they didn't know that they didn't know. We knew, but I'm not sure they know that where they trailed us. They trailed us till we got to the boundary, because there is a soldier barrack. The barrack is close to the village, so they thought we were sent from the barrack to what was the word now? To expose them
or come and spy on them,
or become a spy on them, which wasn't the case. It took me 24 hours before I could write the story. It took me 24 hours before I could write the story. So I later read it one of the online blogs in Nigeria, ICIR, International
Center for Investigative Reporting.
Yeah, that another journalist also had such experience. That was after I had in the same place, in the same village, in the same community, right here in Abia State. Meaning,
now I am curious. For all these experiences you have had, did any of them at any point almost become a breakup point for you? That is, did you, after any of them, sit down one day and ask yourself, is this craft really worth it? The way my life keep getting threatened, don't I have to abandon it and do something else?
Like I mentioned earlier, the passion is driving me, not the money. It's I see it as one of the hazards that you face on the job. So it's normal. You can't have it all smooth. Challenges will come. there will be downfalls, and there will be high points. So it's one of the challenges I believe it comes with the job. So,
now let's talk about.
I won't face any other challenge. No, they will come, and definitely we will surmount.
We have talked about threat to life. Let's talk about inducement attempts. On how many occasions have you been approached with anything monetary or material to compromise the details of any story you were doing and take it?
Okay. It comes in different forms. Comes in different forms. But here in Nigeria, it is popularly known as brown envelope.
Yes.
I don't know what they call it in your country.
In Ghana, we call it Soli, which is the shortened form of solidarity.
Yes. And this has been so. There is another name they call it Jolos, but they also call it Jolos here in Nigeria.
Okay.
So, but there is an argument that that it is not. Some are not bribe. Some are actually honorarium. Thank you for coming. We do appreciate. Now, it is left for that journalist to differentiate between honorarium and bribe.
Yeah.
Someone is giving you a gift without demanding something. I believe that is honorarium, and it will not influence you in any way to alter the content of your story. If it influences you in any way to alter the content of your story, that is a bribe.
What if the person is buying you ahead of time? Something may happen in the future, and then he will reference it that we have taken care of you before.
Honorarium may later become a bribe if care is not taken. So it is left for you to build that bridge and make it known to the person giving you, to the kind-hearted individual or organization, that this is not going to influence me in any way to alter the content of my story. But if you do not set that boundary, it will become a bribe, or it may become a bribe. It becomes a bribe. It may become a bribe at the end of the day. So one has to be careful when you are being offered an honorarium.
Yeah.
So, sorry, just a moment. Okay. One has to be careful so that bribery, I have never been approached directly, but indirectly. When I was working on someone, when I was working under my bosses, because right now I have grown up the ladder to a point where they reach out to me, but I have always been under people, working under a news manager, working under a station manager, working under a programs manager, and severally they've shared with me, not that they accepted, but they will tell me that I rejected this on your behalf. Something like that. It has happened severally.
Let's talk about your golden memories. What memories along the line of duty stand out as gold for you?
Wow, wonderful. First, I would like to take you back memory lane when I became a journalist. Because it was not an accident. I had wanted to become a journalist, a broadcast journalist, because of my love for the media, the radio and television. And I got admission as a microbiologist. And you know, as a microbiologist, your chances of becoming a journalist is very, very slim.
Yes.
Very, very slim. But thanks to my alma mater, the University of Ilorin, Kwara, helped me learn the ropes. That was where I got to know to learn the basics. And the school radio station helped me. That actually stood out for me. It was more like the foundation that made me. The school radio station was not under the mass communication department. If it was under the mass communication department, it would have been difficult for me to be where I am today. So because it was a standalone project which wasn't attached to any faculty or a department, allowed volunteers from any department in the school to apply and become a broadcast journalist. Initially, after going through the auditions, I was not allowed to go on radio. I felt bad. I was pushed to the production department and managed the audio production. And from there, I evolved. Becoming a voiceover artist because I had to work myself, work on some pronunciation, and also work on talking on radio, and that was where I developed interest in politics. And
Okay.
fast forward to leaving the school, it helped me during my service year, and that was the memory that stood out for me. As a microbiologist, I would have been posted to a school to teach. We have the compulsory 1 year service in Nigeria.
Okay.
Where you see the country,
The NYSC,
state of the federation, and the NYC exactly as a core member. And I was posted to Abia State. I'm still in Abia State. I was posted to Abia State 6 years ago.
Okay.
And I was retained at my place of primary assignment where I served. Memories that is then the opportunities that this job has created for me. At the camp we camped for 3 weeks. At the camp I stood out. The state coordinator liked me. I was initially posted to a secondary school to teach biology. I approached her and she gave me a favor that was not given to anybody. I didn't know anybody. I didn't pay anybody. It was difficult for some persons to get reposted to another place of primary assignment. I got a place on my own. I was walking the street. I was walking through. I was walking along the street rather. Then I saw a radio station. The radio station has not even started. Has not started the broadcasting. The radio station was to open that same week. Okay. I approached them and said, "We like you. We like the way you speak. We like you. But the thing is, you are not posted here. Go and walk your way. Then you can put the letter here." I went back to the NYC. It took me 2 weeks to see the state coordinator because she was very busy. And some staff of the service in the state didn't even allow me to see her. Okay. Later, I was able to see her. I got a letter. All surprised. How did you get it? This has never been done for anyone. And from there, I served there for 1 year. For 1 year, I was retained. I became the production manager of the organization. I work on audio and do a lot of radio imaging for them. Then I became a presenter. Then became that. From there, I moved to the present place, and now the station manager. So sweet memories, I would say. I have a lot to teach the those that are interested in this craft. It's all about the passion, and I believe this is not my stopping point. So.
My question, maybe this will be the last. Should journalists be licensed?
Individually?
Yes, as they do to lawyers and medical doctors.
There's a very technical one. Very, very technical. Because it has disadvantages and also advantages. We have a lot of quacks.
That's right.
The job today, which even I will push for licensing. But it will also limit people that have that are good on the job, but they do not have the certificates to back it up. Okay. For example, I read microbiology. I read microbiology, although I have certificates to back the craft. I had to put up, learn along the line, put up some things, and of course went to school. Yeah. But limit those that have the passion but do not have the certificate from achieving their goals and achieving their aim. But for the sake of wax, I have taking it upon themselves to churn out fake news because of clickbaits. This profession should be licensed.
Yeah. Now, I want to pick your thoughts on something. A senior colleague that I hosted here, Mr. Jacob Eddy, he mentioned something to me that he is against the brown envelope syndrome. But what he's advocating for is that journalists should charge for covering the news. That way, how much I receive as a journalist on the beat is in my hands. It is not determined by the public relations officer giving me the brown envelope or the organization I am covering. He sees that as a way of restoring dignity to the profession and also economically empowering the media. Your thoughts?
It's a very nice thought. It will help to sanitize the system. And it will help see that situation where journalists have been looked down on because of this brown envelope syndrome. Many journalists are now being seen as beggars. When you approach someone for a story, they will think you're coming to beg for money, which is not the case.
Yes.
They see journalists as beggars because of brown envelope. So when you pay for the service, you will appreciate the service.
Yes.
But another thing is it will give an undue advantage, and it will make some journalists lazy. There are some stories that doesn't involve money, that doesn't involve you. You won't get paid for it. You're rendering a community service. A road that is bad.
That's right.
And you're going there to cover the story. You're asking the people there for money. When they are already being battered by the bad system.
Yeah.
When they are also being... So it will encourage laziness on the part of journalists. They will rather those ones that will give them money than the ones that will serve the people. Don't forget we're there to also speak the truth to power always. Journalists may not be able to speak the truth to power always.
Let me pull the brakes here. Thank you very much for this conversation. It's been really exciting. I mean, a little over 10 years and some of the experiences you've gone through in addition to scaling walls just to save your life. I mean, these are serious life-threatening experiences. It looks like journalists consistently are the mercy of the newsmakers, especially those who don't mean well, you know. And for me, I was excited that when the police stormed the radio station, you turned on the microphones for it to transmit live what was happening. Otherwise, anything you might have said earlier, which was not transmitted live, could have easily been denied.
Exactly.
You know, and you wouldn't have the kind of factual substance to back it up for the public to believe that really this is exactly what happened. Politicians can be troublesome, really, but they are the necessary evils we deal with. We don't have a choice. In journalism, I think the prayer is that we live one day at a time. Yes. So thank you very much for this conversation. Truly grateful for your time.
Thank you so much.
Right. This has been PENSDOWN. Today I've had the company all the way from Nigeria of BBC trained journalist. He's a microbiologist by profession, but a broadcaster by choice and passion. And he's taking us through his journey. Michael Oni has been my guest. This is PENSDOWN, and this has been a conversation with my colleague all the way from Nigeria. We'll be back next time with another edition, and we'll have another colleague join us. We'll be talking their journalism journey. Thanks for joining us, and bye for now.